The human brain weighs only about 2% of the body, yet it consumes roughly 20% of the body's energy. That means a small organ sitting inside your skull is responsible for a massive share of your body's fuel consumption, even when you're resting. Even when you're doing nothing, your brain is still burning enormous amounts of energy. But why? Why would evolution design such an energy-hungry organ? To understand this, we need to look at what the brain is actually doing every second of your life. Because even when you feel like nothing is happening, the brain is incredibly active. Your brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons. Each neuron is constantly sending and receiving electrical signals. These signals allow the brain to process sensory information, generate thoughts, control movement, and regulate the body. But neurons do not operate passively. They communicate through rapid electrical impulses and chemical signaling, and maintaining this communication requires energy, a lot of it. But here's where it gets interesting. The brain spends most of its energy not on thinking, but on maintaining the stability of neural signals. Every neuron maintains a difference in electrical charge between the inside and outside of its membrane. This electrical difference is known as the membrane potential. Maintaining this state requires the constant movement of ions, such as sodium and potassium, across the neuron's membrane. Special molecular pumps known as sodium-potassium pumps work continuously to maintain this balance. These pumps consume large amounts of cellular energy in the form of ATP, the body's primary energy molecule. In fact, a significant portion of the brain's energy budget is spent simply maintaining these electrical gradients. But the brain doesn't stop there. Whenever neurons communicate with one another, they release chemical messengers called neurotransmitters. These molecules travel across tiny gaps known as synapses. Once the signal has been transmitted, the brain must recycle or remove those neurotransmitters. This entire communication process requires additional energy. But the brain does something even more demanding. It constantly updates its internal models of the world. Sensory information is arriving every second. Visual signals from the eyes, sound signals from the ears, touch signals from the body. Your brain must continuously process and interpret this information. It must predict what will happen next. It must update memory networks. It must coordinate movement. All of this requires extremely active neural circuits, and this leads to an unexpected effect. Even when you are resting quietly, the brain remains highly active. Certain brain networks continue operating in the background. One important example is the default mode network. This network becomes active when the brain is not focused on external tasks. During these moments, the brain reviews memories, simulates future scenarios, and organizes information. In other words, the brain is rarely idle. But the brain does something even more fascinating. Because it consumes so much energy, the brain must carefully regulate how it uses resources. Energy supply to the brain is primarily delivered through glucose and oxygen carried by the bloodstream. Tiny blood vessels supply energy directly to active brain regions. When certain areas of the brain become more active, local blood flow increases. This process is known as neurovascular coupling. It allows the brain to allocate energy precisely where it is needed. But from an evolutionary perspective, this high energy demand created an important constraint. The brain could not grow infinitely large. Energy availability limited how much neural tissue the body could support. Human evolution involved a delicate balance between brain size, body energy supply, and metabolic efficiency. But once you understand how much work the brain performs, the high energy cost begins to make sense. Your brain is managing perception, movement, memory, learning, emotions, and decision-making simultaneously. It is coordinating the entire human system, and it is doing so continuously, every second of your life. By the way, if you're interested in understanding how the brain and body actually work, this channel explores the science behind those systems. Many surprising aspects of human biology become clearer once we examine the mechanisms behind them. And the brain's massive energy demand is one of the most remarkable examples. This small organ inside your skull is one of the most energy-intensive biological systems on Earth, because it is constantly processing the world around you and preparing you to interact with it. Vera Human explains the science behind how the human system works. Subscribe if you're curious about the biology of being human.